So I do run the Centennial Challenge program for all the competitions that we do, and I freaking love my job. This is awesome. I've been working at NASA for 25 years. I started out doing structural analyses for experiments in the back of the cargo bay. Then I morphed over and started doing microgravity experiments and getting them prepared to fly, and working with the scientists to make sure that they were functional and they were going to work okay. Flew a couple times in the Bombing Comet, so got to have that experience. If you're not familiar with it, it's our KC-135 aircraft with up and down and up and down. You float for 40 seconds, you weigh 100, 300 pounds for 40 seconds, you weigh nothing for 40 seconds, you weigh 300 pounds for 40 seconds. And you just go through that cycle, so we'd use that to experiment and test our experiments. Got back to that job because it was getting boring, and decided to go work in the solid rocket motor world for the space shuttle program. So I was the lead engineer for the nozzles on the back end of the solid rocket motors. And then got morphed into doing ballistics. So I was doing all the pressure and thrust traces and making sure that the performance expected was what it was and what it should be before we flew our astronauts up in that. And then I got asked to do Centennial Challenges program and start that program up to a higher level than what it had been operating in. So the first thing when I do outreach, a lot of the kids especially talk about it, so ballistics, ballistician, solid rocket motors, pretty cool stuff. How do you get to do that? What do you get a degree in? Aerospace? No, I've got a degree in civil engineering, roads and commodes. So, I tell kids it doesn't matter. I don't care what you get your degree in. Just get a degree, and then worry about what you want to do.
Hey Sam, can I elaborate on that just a minute? NASA hires lawyers. NASA hires budget people, accountants. We have one anthropologist. Who is the anthropologist? We have one anthropologist at Marshall Space Flight Center that looks at satellite images of South America to determine human settlements and such. So, so we hire all kinds of different people. But Sam is right. Just tell the students, you guys are all beyond some of your formative years in student work, but inspire students to just get those degrees, because that's really what's important.
And I'll add on to it. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Brandon Brown. I'm the Associate Director for Engineering Operations at Marshall, and my degree is in accounting. So,
it's okay. Mine's in political science. So
So you can see it takes everything.
Rocket scientist
And truth and
or
disclosure.
engineer. My daughter's in 5th grade.
Truth and disclosure, most of them are, but it's not exclusive.
But still, leaving that window open is them not shutting it down.
Well, and
we take bright people and some of us.
If you want to work on the technical side, so in all fairness, when you work on the technical side, you do have to have a degree in math, or science, or physics, or engineering, or environmental science, or, the list is a paragraph, this long. If you go to usajobs.gov, you can see what jobs are available. The list is this long as to what you could get a degree in, and it's pretty much any science or technical or engineering field at all gets you in the door. And then you worry about, cool, what do I get to do now? Because so many times I'll run into buddies. Like I said, I've been here for 25 years working for NASA, and I'll run into people that when I first hired on, and it's like, oh man, I haven't seen you in 20 years. How are you doing it? How's it going? Oh, it sucks. What? Are you kidding me? So change jobs. No, I can't. You're right. You can't. But I will. I'm out of here, man. 5 years, it's time to try something else. So there's too many places to work at NASA to be sitting there going, it's boring. I don't put up with that. That's BS. So, get out there, explore. And the biggest thing for me pushing kids is curiosity. And pushing adults, like teachers, everybody else, anybody. Man, if you're not curious, then start becoming curious. You will experience so many things in life just by being curious. And it's a simple curiosity. Even as simple as talking to your neighbor, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, who, for us that are older, I got brothers and sisters, but when have I really quizzed them lately? Because everybody has a life story. Everybody. For all I know, you've gone to the Caribbean and swam with dolphins. I don't know. But until I ask her, so what's your story? Everybody has a life story. I've got neat experiences, and the thing is ask them. When's the last time you talked to your brother or sister and really quiz them? What have you been doing lately? to find out, because they've had experiences. And maybe he was getting drunk in a bar and finding themselves somewhere else, but hey, they've had experiences, and they can tell you these stories. Simple little stories. I got stationed up at headquarters for a year. So I was walking up there, and I came out of the metro station. I'm there at Government Southwest, and I'm walking to NASA, and it's pretty much set course. You come out, you take a right, you go down the street, you take a right, and you walk into the NASA headquarters. So I have this elderly lady walking in front of me, and I'm walking along thinking, this is kind of pretty cool. I'd only been there about 3 months so far, and it's kind of still marveling at the whole thing of being in our nation's capital. And it's kind of a neat thing. And I was walking along thinking about, because I just talked to some kids back home about this whole notion about everybody has a story. And so I'm walking behind this older lady thinking, I wonder what her story is. Here's a grandmotherly type. Maybe she has kids that are pretty famous, maybe not, I don't know. She's raised kids to be successful or not, I don't know. And we're walking along, and she's taking the same turns I'm taking. So we're walking along, and I'm thinking, maybe she's in NASA. And sure enough, she walks in the doors of NASA, and they both, maybe she's one of the secretaries or something. Kind of cool. She's probably met and seen a lot of neat people. And so we walk into the front gate, and we're walking to the security badge, and the security guys go, "Oh, Dr. Lucid, so glad to see you today. I hope things are going well for you." Freaking A. It's Shannon Lucid, the first woman to live on the Russian space station Mir for, what was it, 6 months, a year?
I thought it was a year.
For a year. Holy cow, I'm walking behind a lady who already lived in space for a year, thinking that she's like some secretary at NASA. No. Everybody's got stories, and I'm sure she has fabulous ones to tell. So, ask somebody. Ask a stranger. Standing next to Home Depot. You're standing in the line at Home Depot. So hey, everybody's got life stories. What's your life story? What do you do? And most people will, not all. Some people are gonna quack. Get out of here. But most people will say, "Oh, well, yeah, I do this, or I've done that." Or you never know. Maybe they have swam with dolphins in the Caribbean. It's kind of a neat thing to try to discover and find out. Be curious. Meeting people, be curious, asking questions. We're going to have a lot of opportunities for y'all in the next day and a half. We have an astronaut that you'll all be hanging out with, and you'll listen to us talk, but we're working to get some personal one-on-one time with him as well. Be able to ask questions too. You'll be able to interact with all of the robotic teams that have been competing. Robots may not be your thing. NASA is, but maybe not robots. That's okay. Cool. It's not for everybody. But again, it's back to the curiosity thing. So if you're not sure what to do because I'm not really into robots, so ask them the more esoteric questions. What was the hardest thing you had to do to get here? What was the thing that you thought was going to be easy but turned out to be hard? What was your favorite Martian character? Or what is your favorite, whatever, and get into the conversations. There's one of the guys on the team, his day job, he's working for a company that was hired by Jeff Bezos of Amazon to build a 10,000-year clock. So you can Google it and find it out. They're going to stick it in a mountain, and their expectation is for it to run for 10,000 years. So easy to say, but then when you start really thinking about it, so my wristwatch lasts, 2 months, 6 months, maybe 3 years on the battery. Or the wind-up one that my grandfather gave me kind of runs. That's like 70 years old. And they want to build a clock that's going to last 10,000 years. That's pretty enormous feat. And so you start thinking, man, what kind of technology are they using? You're talking to the guy, and they're not. He's going as low tech as he can. And so then I was asking last night at dinner, so how do you adjust the time? My watch gets off over a year. You're talking 10,000 years, man. You're going to be off by a year, by 10 years by the time you get to that time frame. And he says, no, they've got a sapphire that they're putting at the top of the mountain. So the sunlight at high noon hits the sapphire, drops down a light shaft, and interacts magically and makes the clock adjust to solar noon. So it'll be adjusted every day. And I'm thinking, this is cool. This guy's got a story. And he's just, he's like in his 30s, I think. He was one of the team leaders. He's the team leader for Team Survey, who actually was able to win some money yesterday for a prize competition. So Yasha Little, you can always talk with him. His dad, Scott, who's on his team also helping him, is a physicist who just kind of low-key kind of guy. And you're looking at him, you're thinking, yeah, right. But we started talking about the devices he's building, trying to measure, the gravitational attractions. And he has one single carbon thread supporting a bar with 2 masses, and it's pretty impressive because it's about this big around. They put it in a vacuum valve jar, and if he puts a 30-gram weight, maybe about 15 centimeters away, that bar moves. And then he moves it the other way, and it'll shift, it'll follow it. So the gravitational traction between 2 masses, because it's such a light item, they're able to demonstrate that to a certain degree. The problem there is it's so sensitive, even a truck driving on the road is affected. So now they're trying to figure out how to isolate it and do things of that. So I mean, just fabulous people to talk with. They're tinkerers, they're thinkers. They're kind of cool people. We're working, kind of having to do a rework of our schedule because some freaking government, some congressman decided to come and visit us today. So last minute, the congressman comes in and says, "Oh, I can make it. I'll be there Friday afternoon." So Steve Bowen is having to do a radio interview, our astronaut that we're having, and then he's scheduled to walk through with the congressman when he gets here, and then we're going to work it out. So maybe we'll have him come in and join us later in the afternoon when we're doing our little data bots that we make. But at some point in time we'll get it.
So where is the congressman?
So around 2, so you're good.
Oh, very good.
You have a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you gotta So in that vein, I will start the curiosity seeking, and I'll go ahead and ask, like, so where were you last week?
I'm sorry?
Where were you last week?
I was in Moscow, Kazakhstan, with the launch of the last crew of 3 at the space station.
Get out of here. So the funny part with Bill, as modest as he may be, when he first, he's our NASA photographer if you haven't met him yet.
Jason Litters.
Okay. So Bill got a task many years back, and I said, "Hey, we want you to go to Moscow to cover the Soyuz launch." And so he's, "Okay, yes, he's getting ready for it." And some of his buddies said, "Hey, that's pretty cool, man. You gonna start learning Russian?" He goes, "What? One job hit, man. I ain't going back there ever again." How many was it now?
It's my 67th trip to Moscow.
Yeah, he should have learned Russian.
48th in Kazakhstan. So.
Yeah. So the steps of Kazakhstan for the landings. You know, and there's stories there about too. It's kind of cool. And Andrew, yourself, how many times have you been out there once to? Andrew,
I was assigned to the space station program for 3 months in 2005. But before that, I've done some humanitarian aid work for Kazakhstan. His name is много русский язык, но я не очень хорошо. So I know a little bit of Russian, but I'm not really good.
You know, so it to me, I meet. It's, you know, Andrew sits next door to me, so we talk often, and I get Bill occasionally to talk with him, and I'm sitting there going, I just work here. I'm dead. I wish I could, you know, the international trial, that'd be great. You know, my only story is when we flew a satellite, a tethered satellite system, quite a few years back, and the notion is that we had a sphere about this big around. We had it in the back of the cargo bay of the space shuttle, and we deployed it out 12 meters on a collapsible boom structure. And then from there, we deployed it out another 12 kilometers into space. And so you got this, you know, this huge ball of metal with a long tether string of copper wire. And this astronaut safety office was just in a panic. You're freaking crazy. There's no way we're going to let you guys fly this. It's going to wrap around, and it's going to be a mess, and they're never coming home. It's like, we ran through all the safety loops and got it hooked up. And so we're flying, and the neat part is when you fly that, the shuttle is in the delta, voltage delta between the shuttle and that satellite is enough that you're going to create a plasma flow along the tether as you go through the electromagnetic force fields of the Earth's atmosphere. And it's just absolutely beautiful technology. And just neat, you know, trying to do the studies of what happens with an electrodynamic tether. Cool stuff. So we got that. We're going. We contracted. We're working with the Italians as a joint partnership in this exploration endeavor, and they built the satellite for us. So Linea Spazio out in Torino, Italy. So the Shroud of Turin, same location, was built in building the satellite, and I was head of the structures analyses for the whole experiment. So I did get to travel out to Turin a couple times and talk with them. You know, so yeah, you get those experiences where you're there, and we jet lag, and we pull in. I park the car, and I'm with my systems safety guy that's out there doing a review. And I said, you know what, we need to stay up, get through the jet lag, and we'll spend the afternoon, we'll go to sleep tonight and get caught up. He goes, no, I can't do that. I gotta lay down. So we went to the hotel, no problem. He laid down, I went walking around town. I started walking back, I'm looking for the car, and I'm thinking, I parked there. So I ran back to the hotel, and he wakes up on me and said, let's go check on the car. Right? So we go look to see where our car is, and lo and behold, we get there, and it's not there. And he says, yeah, we parked there. And he says, and I said, well, I don't know what happened. I went and talked to so I do speak Spanish, so I'm talking Spanish to the tobacco vendor there who speaks Italian, and we're kind of understanding each other. And I kind of understand that they towed my car. And so I told him, I think they towed it. And he goes, yeah, that makes sense. What? And he goes, well, yeah, there's all these cars kind of parked diagonally, and you parallel parked, but you blocked in the first car that was parked parallel. I go, why didn't you say anything to me? He goes, well, I don't know. I guess I didn't think it was going to be a problem. But, so it worked out, and then we're good. Oh, so there's one thing I have learned in life: never follow an astronaut.
That's pretty good, because I try never to follow the videos.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's like you're just never as cool as what we look like.
So this is Steve Bowen. He's flown 3 shuttle flights. He is a retired captain in the U.S. Navy, and is a native of Cohasset, Massachusetts, and a graduate of Cohasset High. And so, Steve, just kind of.
Hi.
So just
No other questions?
So the general introduction, similar to our the NASA social, is similar to our Twitter events that we used to do in the past, the tweet ups, the launches. So the same thing here. We have a lot of very well connected people, and we've invited them here for the sample return robot, and we're giving them the VIP treatment for accessibility to our robots.
Excellent. I could